WDET, I'm Robin Vincent. Detroit has changed a lot since 2009, but its master plan hasn't. That's about to change. Producer Jack Filbrandt sat down with Detroit documenters Katy, Carlson, and Lynelle Herndon to learn more.
What is a master plan?
For Detroit, the city's master plan, it's actually the master plan of policies. And so what it really is like this giant document that's a guide for policymakers. Really what it is it's a map kind of how you want the city to look for the next 10 to 20 years. What's included in a master plan or Detroit City's master plan is just like a broad overview of the themes that you want for your city.
I kind of think of it as a list of ideas that the community has kind of formed that we're shooting for. Mm-hmm. I think what is really interesting is it not necessarily being something very concrete, but something where it's like, hey, this is kind of the general idea around land use that we want the city to work towards.
Correct. And so it's a bunch of ideas, it's ideals really, a vision of how you want your city to function. And so what's included in the master plan includes everything from jobs, economy, transportation, land use, like you said, and exactly how you want that land to be used. So whereas the master plan started in 1992, was obviously vastly different from where we're at now. So it's a 10 to 20 year plan. The last time the plan was updated was 2009. Once again, obviously Detroit's been undergoing a lot of change since then, and there have been a few small amendments made to that master plan from 2009.
One of the interesting things that really stood out to me that you mentioned is 2009 being
a long time ago.
A long time ago, yeah. And like looking at the city council members that had originally created the master plan, I was like, oh, there's so many people that are no longer on city council or even involved in city government.
True. And I mean, the city's changed in numerous ways since then. I mean, there's been the housing crisis, kind of a quote unquote downfall, then the resurgence, neighborhoods look different. There's not as many residents. And so obviously it's time for a new master plan. So to create a new master plan, it takes more than just city council or city officials. First, what happens is the planning department's like, hey, we need a new master plan. And it's going to cost some money, and we're going to need to pay somebody to kind of lead this process. That's an outside organization. For this master plan, it's the Smith Group. And so what they've been doing for like spring and summer, documenters have been covering kind of all these master plan meetings that have been held in communities throughout the city. And documenters really enjoy these meetings. Documenters tend to really like planning meetings anyway because they're interactive. Plan Detroit is kind of the name of the whole thing. These Plan Detroit meetings that were coming out where people were able to participate and kind of interact. And they were broken down into different topics like jobs and economy, transportation, housing, and what are residents really looking for, looking towards the future. Those meetings have concluded. They kind of ended in August, and now we're in a phase where the planning officials are taking all of that feedback, and it is a lot of really good feedback. I want to say that there are if you're like interested in learning more about this, there are documents, colorful graphs, charts, maps. You can see photos from all of those planning meetings. You can literally see like the sticky notes that residents wrote about what they want. So there's really great documentation of the meeting. And so they're kind of going through all of that data, all of that feedback, looking at the 2009 plan, looking at master plans from other cities as well to develop what's going to be the new master plan for Detroit. And we expect that new master plan to come out anytime now, honestly. We haven't heard any movement, but they told us like the end of 2025, beginning of 2026.
Katy, back in the spring, you attended a community engagement meeting for the new master plan of policies. How does community input help shape the final plan?
Yeah, so I attended a meeting for the theme of economy and jobs. I think there was a series of like 5 or 6 of these workshops, and they came to us with some like bullet points, different like sections, themes, things that they're thinking about. It was kind of a very rough draft. I guess I was taking notes, so I wasn't necessarily participating, but I was listening, and all of the other the participants were giving feedback on these notes. How did these things make them feel? Did they think that these were the right things to prioritize? And how also among the different like sections, how would they prioritize those? Like, did they prioritize like having kind of neighborhood hubs, like business hubs within each neighborhood, or having more of an industrial part of the city?
What was some of the feedback that you kind of heard in the room that like really stood out to you and you thought, oh, this is an important point that is raised?
Yeah, I think the one that stands out to me the most was there was one of the themes that they were proposing was to highlight / support institutions in the city, and they defined institutions, or they said, for example, hospitals and universities. And some people at the table that I was in the discussion with pointed out, like, yes, those are important things, but why aren't we seeing like grocery stores as institutions, like places that everyone goes to? Because like, you know, everyone's probably gonna need a hospital at some point in their life, but they're not going there every day. We're going to grocery stores every day. Like, these are just, how do we define what an institution is?
What happens when a new master plan of policies is introduced?
It goes to the City Planning Commission. So we have the planning department. That's a bunch of planners that kind of come up with these ideas and these plans. The City Planning Commission, it's a group of commissioners. They're not paid, right? But they come together twice a month and they listen to what's going on in the city. They decide about projects. They kind of vet these development projects that are going on before City Council decides. So they're able to give City Council like a recommendation, yay or nay, like this is a good project, all the way from just even as something, I won't call it small, but as developing a vacant lot, or a small business owner that wants to put a business in a neighborhood. They look at all of those projects, go through zoning laws, ask residents that live near that project, like, what do they think about it? They gather all this information. They ask a bunch of questions. They do, all of that. And then they make their recommendation to City Council. So we still have those. We still need to get the plan. There's going to be a period of time when residents are able to kind of look at it and weigh in. The City Planning Commission is going to weigh in on it, and then it'll head to City Council. By then, we'll probably have a brand new City Council, right? Because there's only three more sessions with the council we have now.
The group of commissioners that you're talking about, when they are considering a project, are they weighing that project kind of against the master plan?
Oh, great question. Absolutely, yes. You hear it all the time, especially in city. You hear it in a lot of different agency meetings, but especially City Planning Commission. That's one of the first things they ask you is like, how does this relate to align with the city's master plan? And they're looking for it to be aligned with the master plan. So I guess I could go back a little bit too and say it hasn't been updated since 2009. There's obviously been a lot of development. And so what they're saying is like, we're seeing a lot of these individual projects. Detroiters are Detroiters. They gonna do what they do, right? We building. So there's all these individual projects that are going on, but they're not necessarily cohesive or interactive with each other. And they really want everything to be moving in a similar, same direction.
Detroit documenters Katy Carlson and Lynelle Herndon speaking with producer Jack Filbrandt. Detroit's new master plan will be completed by early next year. up, Tia Graham premieres the last episode of Container on the Metro. That's next. Stay with us.